All right, Jack and Rob. I'm gonna just because it's hard for me to get those videos into Coach's Eye. I'm just gonna give you a video of Aroldis Chapman and Glenn Perkins and talk about what I think is going on. I was able to see yours in slow motion, so these are my thoughts. Okay, I want you to see what it looks like when I talk about hip lead. Okay, so in block 3 is when we do video analysis in ETP. So obviously you weren't in that conversation. So at the top of their leg kick, they're moving forward. You can see this more obviously in the Chapman video. But this is what hip lead looks like when you're moving down the mound and your body's turned away and your butt is ahead, right? So the problem is we overinterpret this. So if you take your angle and you take Chapman's angle or Perkins' angle, you're going to be much more like this line, the second one that I drew. Okay, so when you're leading with your hip, your head is getting stuck back. So honestly, in the normal video, where you feel like you're not leading with your hip, you basically have enough hip lead. You just have to be turned away down the mound longer. Because what we're looking for is our hips to stay loaded. At the end of the day, that's all we're looking for, is to have this hip position late in the process. So when we go to turn to throw, our drive leg looks like this. So as you see Perkins down the mound, okay, this is where his drive is going to happen, right at the end there. So I can still, his back hip is hidden right now, right? So as his arm starts to come up, you're going to see that back leg come through, that back hip come through late, okay, but it comes through. So the hard part about all this is making it actually happen. What I was seeing is when you were leading hard with your hip, you weren't actually moving, so it was throwing off your timing. You were actually more open, but moving faster when you led with your hip, which is going to make you miss. Yes, you miss high. You're going to miss, period. Like some kids spike the ball, some kids miss. So I will always say this. When your command is off, no matter where it is, it's typically because something's early, whether that's your hips, your shoulders. Oftentimes I start from the ground up, right? So in relation to where your head position is, your lower half is very early opening up because your head isn't moving. So if you want to lead with your hips properly, you have to move your head in relation to your hips down the mound. So even here, okay, I see this angle with Chapman. Yours is going to look more like this, where his is going to look more like this for a longer period of time. One more time. At the end of the day, if you are missing, it's because your arm doesn't have time. So right now, when Glenn Perkins hits the ground, when Aroldis Chapman hits the ground, their front leg firms up immediately. Go into your video and look at the point where your front leg stops moving. Chapman's is right there. Perkins is right there. Their arm is behind their body, and they have plenty of time for their arm to lay back in external rotation, snap forward into internal rotation. That whole whipping process. If your command is not on, it is because your arm does not have enough time to do this based on the movements that you are creating down the mound. Hopefully this is helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. Just watch this one more time. Actually, these are good videos. Watch Glenn Perkins slow motion or Aroldis Chapman slow motion on YouTube. That's where I find these.